This subject I have discussed in my newest book. We were asked to present our newest books. This book was published in Polish and in English, and this is the first thing I would like to present. And the second thing I would like to present using the occasion is the new series we have started to publish with the Academy of Sciences. The Warsaw University and the Academy of Sciences in Warsaw. This is the edition of old sources, until the 19th century, Jewish sources. The first volume is the Pinkas of the Bośki Kahal. It was edited by myself. And the second one, especially interesting, is the register of the Jewish people in Warsaw, living in Warsaw in 1778. This is the year. In this period, the Jewish settlement was not allowed in Warsaw. So we have the Jewish state in the private. We can say private properties, noble properties, or magnate properties. And we have here the whole list: 3,500 people, with the locations, with families, and so on. This is very interesting. And what is also important, this series is in open access in internet. You can use it after 1 year after publishing. There is free access to it. So I recommend it. I will send these books. You can see it. Okay, and my paper discusses the activity of the Jewish representatives during the sessions of the Noble Diets and Dietines. And the first question is why the Noble Diets were so important for Jewish people in the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. The situation of the Jewish population was largely affected by the opinions of nobility gathering and the dietines. This is the Polish Sejmik, a local assembly. Both local Jewish authorities and the representatives of the VAT were interested in the debate of the dietines and regulations adopted by them, and also in respect to the diets preceding the diet sessions, that the deputies elected at the dietines would be favorably disposed towards the Jews. The VATs have also tracked to the decisions taken during the Noble Diets. The expression recurred in the Pinkas of the Lithuanian VAT, may it be or may it turn out good for the entire Israel, in reference to the forthcoming diet, was not merely a figure of speech or wishful thinking, but a reflection of genuine concern about factors that could determine the situation of the Jews. The main tax paid by the Jews to the state was the Jewish poll tax, pogłówne żydowskie in Polish. It was assessed as a lump sum by the Noble Diet for the term of the following 2 years. It is until the meeting of the following ordinary diet. When the diet was discontinued and the resolution had not been passed, the previous lump sum tax continued to apply. Its amount was constantly raised due to a conviction that the number of Jews was rising, but also due to inflation. The Noble Diet set also other duties and issued general regulations regarding the Jewish population. The entries in the Pinkas of the Lithuanian VAT sometimes express hope that the poll tax will not be adopted by the Diet, meaning that it will be not raised and the previous one will continue to apply. Rumors that the Jewish poll tax would be increased by the Noble Diet were also recorded in the Pinkasim of the VATs. As the VAT has a duty to distribute and collect the Jewish poll tax, the dates of its sessions were determined by the timetable of the Noble Diets. In 1628, it was decided that the Lithuanian VAT should be convoked every 2 years, which naturally corresponded with the frequency of the noble diets at which the Jewish poll tax was decided. The VATs were convened after the noble diet, and if it was postponed, the date of the VATs assembly was also put off. In 1694, King Jan Sobieski allowed to put off the date of the Crown VAT because the last noble diet, scheduled to take place in December 1693, had not assembled due to the king's sickness. Therefore, the VAT was to convene after the following diet, whose date was set at the beginning of the 1695, when the amount of the poll tax levied on Jews would be known. But sometimes the VAT's activities depended on the diet's date for other reasons. Recorded in 1664 were the names of two people who, in contravention of the regulations, tried to obtain the list of Lithuanian customs duties without the principal community's consent. The decision to initiate court proceedings was put off until the end of the noble diet that was deliberating in Warsaw. It was recorded that the trial was put off for the undisclosed reasons, but it may be guessed that it was done not to publicize the list of public taxes by the Jews that had been opposed by the nobility during dietings and diets for a long time. The next question is who and how undertook efforts at the noble diets. The VAT's representatives went regularly to Warsaw and to Grodno, where the noble diets gathered. In Lithuania, the principal communities had to send one representative each, and the regulations most frequently refer to leaders. Their expenses and remunerations for their hardships were to be covered by the land, it means by the Lithuanian VAT. The VAT restated in 1670 that two leaders should be present in every noble diet, and the Brześć community leader should always attend the diet's opening session. The VAT's representatives attended the coronation diet, as evidenced by the entry made in 1676 that a joint decision had been taken by the leaders from Crown Poland and the seniors of the Lithuanian land who would stay in Kraków. Special steps were taken at those diets to ensure that the new king would confirm the privileges granted to the Jews by the previous monarchs. For example, in the confirmation of the privilege for the Lithuanian Jews issued by the King Jan Kazimierz, there were early approvals by King Sigismundus III and King Władysław IV, which had been granted at the coronation diets. The regulation emphasized that the Jews sent to the diet should have appropriate status, allowing them to stay at the royal court and at the magnate seats. It was recorded in 1691 that during the diet in Warsaw, at least two envoys should be able to visit the royal and magnate's palaces. As for the others, it was recommended that they should be wise and experienced, familiar with Jewish law. Apart from the principal community envoys, the debate of the noble diets were followed by the Landstadlanim. Stadlanim were obligated to attend the diets, and the regulations frequently emphasized that they should be there at time the session would begin. Appointed as Stadlanim was usually people entitled to stay at the royal court and in magnate's palaces, and with contacts there, who were factors, suppliers, or bankers. Many Stadlanim of the Crown VAT were also the king's servitors. When a servitor privilege was granted, such person became the king's official and was solely under the jurisdiction of the royal courts, exempted from the jurisdiction of other courts, payment of some taxes and charges. In 1628, three Lithuanian Stadlani, brave heroes, were appointed: Jeszaja of Vilnius, Bejrach of Brześć, and Mordechai of Łomazy, who were entitled to stay in the palaces of the king and magnates. They were to keep track of the debate at the noble diet and take steps with a view to the common well-being of all Lithuanian Jews. Bejrach and Mordechai had been committed to come to the venue of the Noble Diet on its first day, and Yeshaya was to join them as quickly as possible. 3 representatives delegated by each principal community were told to hurry when going to the Noble Diet. In 1632, during the Diet electing the king in Warsaw, 2 landstadlanim were to be present, Zalman and Mordechai of Łomazy. Apart from Stadlanim, land trustees were Naamanim also went to the Noble Diets in Warsaw and Grodno. When laying down the rules of Lithuanian trustees' appointment and duties, it was recorded that when he would be departing to Warsaw, for Warsaw or Grodno, he would be paid 15 Polish zloty by the land. By the land, it means by the Lithuanian VAT. At the same time, the Lithuanian VAT strictly forbade other people to go to the diets, and if they had notified their principal communities and failed to obtain their written permission. Those who ignored the ban could be severely punished, and the community leaders were told to resort to all available means to prevent them from going. A warning was also issued that should anyone depart without permission and suffer any misfortunes, no efforts would be made to take care of him. The Stadlanim currently staying in Warsaw were to warn such disobedient individuals. But it was also recorded in 1661 that many people disregarded the old ban and left for Warsaw to the Noble Diets on their own initiative, thus provoking many conflicts. Therefore, the VAT reiterated earlier regulations strictly banning the residents of all communities and settlements to go to the Diet in Warsaw without an order or permit issued by the principal community leaders. A person permitted to go should have a document issued by them to show it to the leaders staying in Warsaw. The principal communities were told to announce the ban in the synagogues in advance of 30 days before the Diet to warn people of harem and self-willed departures. The Jewish envoys presented the Diet, both those delegated by the principal communities and the VAT's officials, took various steps for the benefit of the Lithuanian Jews. The Hebrew sources referred to them as Stadlanut, which term is the best and shortest counterpart of Lobbing. They took steps to obstruct plans that would be unfavorable to the Jews, mainly to prevent any poll tax rises and additional burdens, but also to obtain beneficial provisions in the Diet's resolutions. These efforts made by the Jewish envoys sometimes resulted in accusations that they were responsible for breaking up of the Diet's sessions in order to prevent the adoption of constitutions, including the provisions unfavorable to them. The VAT's envoys also took steps to torpedo Burger's postulates hostile to the Jews, which aimed at curbing their rights and preventing their business activity. The largest towns in the Commonwealth were entitled to send 2 delegates to the Diet sessions, but smaller towns were also sending their plenipotentiaries who ran rounds on behalf of the principals. The next question is, how effective was the Jewish lobbying at the Noble Diets? The VAT's recommendations addressed to the envoys to the nobility diets were usually very general. For example, it is to act for the benefit and well-being of all Jews, which makes it impossible to determine if their efforts were effective or not. However, during the Lithuanian VAT of 1651, they were charged with more specific tasks. It was recorded that recently a horse tax, this is podymne in Polish, had been levied in Lithuania, and during the last Noble Diet in Warsaw, the Jewish leaders took energetic steps that the horse tax levied on each Jew could be paid in a lump sum. The constitution of the extraordinary diet, which convened in Warsaw, refers to 20,000 zloty of the harsh tax levied on Lithuanian Jews, which proves that their efforts were successful. In its decision in 1651, the VAT recommended to take steps in the future to ensure that a lump sum tax would be paid. The constitution of the following diet in 1653 again refers to the lump sum tax levied on Lithuanian Jews, maybe as a result of the steps taken by the Jewish representatives. And the next example, during the session of the Lithuanian VAT in 1655, the Stadlanim were ordered to take steps during the Diet in Warsaw in order to guarantee that the constitution would ensure the assistance of non-Jews in the collection of Jewish taxes. The aim was to ensure the adoption of a provision that every magnate and administrator would help with the collection of taxes from every community and settlement in keeping with the decision taken by the principal community leaders. The same was to apply to overdue taxes. The clearest outcome of the Stadlanim's effort is a provision in the constitution of the extraordinary diet in Warsaw held in May and June 1655, which deliberated about the poll tax payable by the Jews in the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, reading then that, quotation, in respect to those reluctant to pay, the assistance by the non-Jewish officials would be granted. It must have been the outcome of the Stadlanim's effort. And the next problem, the next question are expenses. The efforts made at the Noble Diets involved high expenses. Senators and deputies going to diets were presented with gifts. The Lithuanian VAT of 1628 decided that the entire land would bear the cost of presents given by the principal communities to the magnates traveling via them to the Noble Diet. But only in respect to the magnate who were members of the king's retinue. With those help would be possible to act for the benefit of all Jews. Also, delegates staying in Warsaw during the Diet's sessions spent a lot of money. Before returning to their communities, they were obligated to get together and collate all their diet-related expenses. They had been warned that an expense not accounted for in Warsaw would not be settled later on. The sharing in diet-related expenses was disputed by the Crown and Lithuanian VATs and resolved by the VATs tribunal in Lobbing in 1633. According to the verdict, the residents of Lithuania did not have to pay for the gifts to the deputies and the Speaker of the House of Deputies because they presented their own gifts to the deputies of Lithuania, but they were obligated to cover 1/7 part of expenses related to the violence in Warsaw. Violence in Warsaw, it was quotation, which must have meant protection against violence and guarantee of safety of the Jews coming to Warsaw during the diets. But that ruling did not put an end to disputes because in 1681 the problem was raised again. A court consisting of Crown and Lithuanian rabbis who convened in Łęczna discussed the financial claims the Crown VAT of the Crown VAT against the Lithuanian VAT regarding expenses incurred during the Noble Diets in Warsaw. The verdict provided the Crown VAT with two options: either to demand from the Lithuanian VAT 1/14 of all incurred expenses or a lump sum of 9,000 zloty. But a reservation was also made that the amount did not incur diet-related costs and the both parties were to incur them separately. The Lithuanian party argued that the noble diets were also held at Grodno, and the Lithuanian Jews also had to incur diet-related expenses. The expenses related to the noble diets were to be covered by a part of the land tax sent to its venues. It was decided that in advance of 30 days before the noble diet, each district would always send 3 units of property tax in cash to its principal community. Then the principal communities would deliver those funds along with their tax proceeds on the day when the diet began. In 1661, a regulation was recalled that made it necessary for all communities, settlements and districts to send their land tax to each noble diet held in Warsaw. It was stressed that it was for the benefit of all Jews. The leaders staying in Warsaw were told to record in the Pinkas whose localities, those localities which had failed to deliver the tax. And during the fairs at Kopel and Stołowice, held after the diet, the fair Dayanim had a duty to cast herem on the Kahal members of those communities which had not delivered their taxes to Warsaw. They were also to confiscate their assets worth 30 tax amounts plus an extra to cover the expenses and losses that had been suffered. Summarizing, the problem of the Jewish lobbying at the noble diets is a fascinating and also very little known subject. To get a more comprehensive picture of this phenomenon, is necessary to make a broad research in archives, research in diets diaries of the noble diets, in the correspondence. Now we have the first view from the Jewish Hebrew sources. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Вопросы? Вопросы можно по-русски, да?
Можно по-русски. Я буду отвечать по-английски.
Have you had a chance to compare Jewish lobbying with lobbying from other interest groups?
It is very difficult to do it for the Jewish lobbying. So I think that a group of people is necessary to make a research, because this is material in correspondence, in noble correspondence of the nobles with magnates, and it's very difficult to find material. So I don't. This is very interesting, but maybe it will be the result of the research of many people. But we have works about the lobbying of the burghers of Lwów, for example, at the noble diets. But it is very difficult to have the picture for the whole Commonwealth, for the whole localities, big cities, and so on. So. Practically it's not possible for this moment, but maybe in the future, in 100 or 200 years, it will be possible.